This video is both megalithic, which is my hobby topic, and it's a DIY. So I have decided to republish it to my new channel. Enjoy. 2 years ago I started my YouTube channel, and I had a couple videos that were about how to do stone softening and how to build your megalithic wall. Well, a lot of people said, then if it's so easy, go do it. Well, this is Hatun Rumiak. It's proof that this kind of thing can be done. But this wall is not a wall. This wall is a patio. And as I show you the rest of my patio, I just decided to do something to prove, well, there's not to prove. One, I needed a patio. And I needed to fit something into the area, and I needed to give it a nod towards megalithic stuff, pre-Inca, prehistory stuff. I needed to give a nod towards the amazing stonework that is in Peru and is in Egypt. Well, this is poured concrete, and if you're watching my channel, then you have an appreciation for megalithic stuff. And I do DIY videos, do it yourself. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can pour a megalithic patio just like this. I'm going to show you the step-by-step. Now my patio, this area was a swampy mess when I bought this house. And it's not going to be easy. You cannot pour this much concrete all in one shot and put these lines in it. You have to follow a certain pattern. You have to follow a technique, especially if you're working alone, which I was, because I couldn't find anybody to help me for 25 bucks an hour. American teenagers, they're so freaking lazy. But anyways, so I wound up doing the job by myself, and the way that you have to do it, I'm going to show you. Be one thing if it was out in the open, but this is in an enclosed between the house, between the breezeway, between the garage. And then to make it look fantastic and to add iridescence, if you can see the glimmer. I know cameras don't pick up the glimmer, but in the stonework I've added mica and color. Each and every stone looks a little different. I'm going to show you how to add the various different kinds of stains that work with concrete. I'm going to show you how to add the mica and to find your local stones that you can use to add a difference so that it doesn't look like concrete, just like this. This is my nod toward Hatun Rumiak Street, Inca heritage, megalithic heritage, Sacred Valley heritage. This is my backyard, my little piece, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Watch right there. Yes, that was a time lapse. That was a time lapse of 3 days worth of work that was put into a patio that was in an enclosed area. What's important though, what you have to realize is that this is not an open space patio. This is not something that can be poured all at once. What you need to take away from this video is that each and every little segment, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they need to be done in individual sections. You need to think out the designs that you want in the individual areas, especially if you're working alone, such as I was. Work your way into the middle. Think of your designs. Put it to paper if you have to, and then plan it out as to what you want to see. And my centerpiece was the 12-angled stone of Hatun Rumiak. So work this out. I'm going to show you the individual tips now as to the stones, breaking up the stones, applying them, and then sealing and colorizing your patio. It's a lot of work. And this was a quick time lapse. Follow through. Things are going to get slower now, but follow through and we'll show you how to do a patio of your own with a megalithic style. I built this little step because the old one was just a total wreck. It had completely collapsed and I had to replace the door. The wooden door here that goes into the garage, well, it's original. So let's get started. That was a lot more concrete than I thought it was going to be. But I wanted to save that big block for later. Might be able to use it someplace else around here just as a step into a lower part of the yard. Alright, so I'm not going to bore you to death with the rest of this dig, but I'll just show you what I've done. Right down into this corner, I need to get to below the 4 inches worth of concrete patio. So this is going to get a gradient all the way. It's going to go down about 3 or 4 inches every 10 feet and then all the way out there. So I'll get that digging done. All right, I've put in the 3-inch schedule 40 pipe and it goes all the way 30 feet over to the low spot that then heads out the backyard. It has about a 3-inch drop for every 10 feet. And the drain pipe itself is going to be 4 inches below. The patio level is going to be 2 inches. I should have put a mark, but the patio level is going to be right there, about 2 inches above this mortar line. So that'll give me easily 5 inches. I'm going to totally bury this entire pipe now in the gravel that I've saved, the rock and junk that I've saved here and down there in that pile. So this drain will keep the patio, it'll be well underneath it and make its way all the way out to the backyard. And a little note on the side, yes, I know I didn't need to use schedule 43-inch pipe, but this is going underneath a nice patio and things will move back here. I didn't want to use wimpy pipe and I just didn't want to worry about the thinner 3-inch pipe being a problem, so I went with the thicker, more expensive stuff. This is the line. 2 inches above this cinder block is going to be the top of the patio, the poured patio. And a good rule of thumb, if I haven't mentioned it already, is that you want 7.5 inches for every step, which is why, you know, you got to think about this in advance. 7.5, there's going to be 2 steps here. This step out, and then that box. I might build a better one because that one's not exactly, it was just temporary. And then another 7 inches. So I have 15 inches between the top of this and the top of the patio. I might need to bring this down a little bit further. But you always have to think in advance. You don't want to have a 3.5-inch step. So plan your patio height based on your next step up. And I decided to take the concrete bib out here. There was a concrete bib around, and I'm going to reshape a bib here in a nice stone shape, so that the cellar window has its light and its drainage. And so I ripped out all that concrete bib, and I may go around the corner and continue to rip out that concrete. So this is the prepped area in the back. It is almost 13 feet from here to here. We'll call it 12. I've contoured the edge for that edge of the bib. It is about 16 feet from this corner all the way over to this corner. So 16 by 13 square. The center of that door is about 6 feet. And the center of that window hole is about 6 feet. And this little corner down in here, I'm just going to leave open. So just in case, if somebody ever did have to get under here, they could just lift the wooden step box and go in. So given that area, let's go take a look at the design. These are all design features that are at Hatun Rumiak in Cusco. This is about 16 feet. Well, I'm just going to draw a line, make this a little bit more crooked, bring this up, do something like that. The design intent is that this floor will be just about there. For form work, I recommend using screws, wooden strapping, metal spikes, plywood, T111, bricks, whatever it takes to hold the shape. And even this Luan type of, I thought it was Luan, but it's called flexible plywood. But don't ever use paneling, because paneling will dissolve. So I'm working the first pour. This is going to be basically 3 stones, and I'm going to put another tight curve in here to shape the next stone. But what I want to make sure and let you know at this point is that you have to be level from your starting points, from one to the next. And if I take my level, and we know my starting point is up there on top of the foam core, I'm level. And then to the next part, also level. And then again from the styrofoam, you just need to make sure as you start that you are level. And that's important, because as long as your original pours are level and to your mark as you go along, then it'll make it easy when you do the intermediate and filler stones. All you have to do is pour to the next stone, as long as they're all on the level mark. Alright, so basically, first pour, it is level. I'm not worried about the concrete coming underneath the front forms. Level all the way around. I put some screen over there so that the concrete doesn't go into the breezeway. Put a little block there. So I'm just going to pour this and turn it into 3 stones with 3 different colors. Okay, I've learned a lot. Okay. Always wear a mask when you're working a cement mixer. Right now it's rinsing. I learned a lot in that first pour. There was about 9 bags. Just do this little bit. And bring that water right to the top just by doing a little bit of a pat down. Let those rocks, let the aggregate settle right in. All right. Okay, we'll let this set for about an hour, and then we'll start putting in the individual stone lines. And while that is setting, let's smash some mica so that we can make some texture and glitter. Are you seeing the gold that's in this? God, I hope it's not real gold. That really... Oy. I mean, this rock actually feels heavy. Holy shit. All right, I'm going to keep this. Just because it's so freaking beautiful. Just shape the crack just a little bit here. Look good. And then we're going to go ahead and put on the rocks. So let's sprinkle on little bit of the gold right here, and I want to throw it in hard, so. And the silver, let's go ahead and toss the silver right in like that. And sprinkle some on here. Okay, next piece. Now for this filler one, I went with a curve that went out. And notice how it ends in the middle of the two joints. That'll give it the same look. Same on this end. Well, this time I went straight. They do tend to be straight or slightly curved, but really, you know, that's a shape. And I'm going to put the line across the middle. I put an extra piece of wire in the middle. Now you probably noticed that I'm not using gravel up here, stone on the bottom. That's because it's already stone really on the bottom. I've removed all the topsoil. So down on this end, where I removed a lot of topsoil, I will definitely put down stone. I just didn't want to have decent topsoil underneath. Whereas this stuff is all sand and gravel. So let's get back to mixing. Batch number 4. Batch number 4. All right. So here is pour number 1. Pour 2. Pour 3 is around the corner. Pour 4 I did an hour and a half ago, and it's now drying. Pour 5 is different and a little bit more complicated than the rest. 1, it has to go around the window well. I'm making it a little smaller. It doesn't need to be very big. I want as much patio space as I can. I've got a double layer of steel in here just because it's near the edge. And I've put a little curve in here. But what I would need to notate is this is the beginning of the 12 angled stone. And if you look at that, this is the design. The 12 angle stone has a little short thing, goes straight up, a little notch, and then straight up that way. Well, it's kind of on an angle. It's the left hand side of the 12 angled stone. So that is going to be here. Going up, a little jog. And I'm going to do this all in one pour, which should be difficult because I'll have to reach across. But so you have to plan ahead. Whatever your center pattern is here, this is where mine is going to be. And oh, and I got to remember, I've got the styrofoam that I need for expansion over on that side. So let's get started. This is going to be about a 20 bag pour. Now, as you can see, I have put some texture into a lot of these different stones. There's gold mica, some silver shale. Yes, that will turn silver once it's dry. Sand. Here's more of the gold mica. Now I'm just going and taking off the last. I'm going to leave that bit of the form until the end. I'm not going to bother trying to take that off until the very end. You can see this one's got sand. This one has shale, and it's blue shale, and a lot of this blue will really come through. But I'm just doing the last bit of trim up here. I've taken the last pieces of the molding off, and I'm just coming through and softening these edges. I've already tamped them down like that with the level. It's still kind of soft, and when you're working with the stuff, you're gonna have to figure out, you know, how much time. It takes about 2 hours, an hour and a half before you can take the forms off. And then the last little bit of trim, the last little bit of cleanup is just going around with a sponge, getting right. I've just been going right down through the line, a little bit with the corner of the sponge, and cleaning it up. And this has some red and gold mica. So, and all the mica that is going to do is just give each stone some individuality. Because I'm going to use a color sealant on these as well. So each stone has a different texture, slightly different texture, different color combination of silver or gold or red mica. I couldn't find any black mica, but anyways, and then I'm going to paint, well, it's called a stain. I'm going to stain these in about a month just to bring out the real individuality of each stone. But I'm about halfway there. This is a tough way to do a patio, but now the filler part is going to be real easy. I'm going to do a batch there, and then this is the 12 angle stone, real simple, and then a batch here and a batch there, and these are just going to be outlined kind of haggard, such as you see at Ollantay Tombow and the top of Saxo Huayman. But the real tough work has been done, and now all I got to do is fill these two areas and that, and bada bing. I've been leveling it as I go along on each side, and it's looking great. Pouring the 12 angled stone today. Actually decided to put the mixer in to the stone just so it makes it easier. Pour it in one side, dump it on the other. in order to achieve a stone design like this, you can't just pour the whole thing all at once. The concrete dries too quickly. It's just way too much work. You have to do it in sections, and you have to do it in sections that you can reach. So pour 1 takes care of the corner. Pour 2 takes care of this corner. Pour 3 took care of this side, and then the piece around the very corner. And then that left an area where you didn't need to do much forming. Pour 5, this area here. Pour 6, this area here. And then for the last 3 pours, you don't need to do any forming, well, a little bit, but pour 7, this area here, where all you need to do is just do a little form right there. And then the 12 angled stone only needed this little piece here. And then lastly, this. So the idea is that you can pour them as individual groups. You don't have to worry about cure times. You're given plenty of time to add your color, plenty of time to add your stone. This entire design would be impossible to do as a single pour. You would need 6 guys, 2 cement mixers, but in this methodology where you do the corners and you do little sections, so you need to think it out. Think out your design, think out your centerpiece. Mine was the 12 angled stone, or 12-sided stone as some people call it. And then do the design in a way that you can use your corners and your sides as forms, so you don't have to form the whole thing out. Tonight, I'm just waiting for the last pour to dry. Tomorrow I'm going to do a good cleaning. I still need to add texture and color to these stones. I'll be doing that next, and I'll be doing it in the dark. It's a good idea to go around at the very end and use your sponge to clean up some of the things that look like trowel marks, basically. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just hitting it with a sponge, and that clears out the trowel marks. Just helps to make it look a little bit more like stonework. And it's better to get this on the day that you poured it and not the next day, but this just helps to clean it out a little bit. See, if you let something like this dry, it'll always look like, well, trowel marks, like a tool mark. Whereas if you hit it with a sponge just before it really dries, the sponge rounds it off, and bada bing, it looks more like stone edge, more like stonework. I almost forgot to do that to this last pour. It's nice, you can see the glitter comes through in the sun. It's nice to finally get some sun. But you can see the glitter in the stone. And I'm just going to keep cleaning up these trowel marks with a sponge. Yeah, that looks so much better. So at this point, the concrete has been down, the stones have been down for 3 weeks, but they look like concrete. It's time to get into the creative and challenging part. In the sunlight, you can see that the accents are coming through. The stone, the mica, the slate, the little chips of gold and silver. I wish the sun were coming out a little bit better. So you can see how the individual stones are different from one another. But now it's time to go ahead and make them look like individual stones. What we're going to do is stain. Online you can buy, oh boy, there's the sun, it's coming out a little bit better. But online you can buy 8 colors, it comes in a box from Amazon, all these different colors of concentrated stain. There's only a little bit in the bottom of each of these. I think it comes from CreteResurrection.com. I'm not going to use the white. I'm going to use everything else, and I probably won't use the charcoal too. It's too dark. And this will be just to get the basic accents, just to get it so that they look like individual stones. I'm going to carefully apply them. Follow the directions. You're supposed to mix that small quantity that's in here to the top with acetone. I am not going to use these little squirt bottles, these little spray bottles. I've used these before. They're messy. Even if you're wearing gloves, you get a lot of dripping. It doesn't apply very well. I want to put a little power to it. So I'm going to use my power sprayer. With my Wagner power sprayer, the tip of the pull device goes right down into the bottom of this. So use your small quantity stain applique on your Wagner power sprayer. Put the colors in one at a time as you use them. Rinse them out as best as you can between applications. And that will give us, and remember, this is just going to be for the accent of the stone. You're not trying to color the stone, just making it look a little different from the one next to it. You've already put in different colored mica, different colored slates. You've applied them in different ways. You've used sand, so the stones already have a little bit of a difference. And if you look around, you can see, like, these were the sand. You know, this one over here is heavy on the gold mica that I used. I've got another example around here that's very heavy on the silver slate, etc., etc. You've already done a good bit in making the stones look different from one each other with the stones that we've put into it. The stain, these 8 colors, 7 colors, likely 6 colors, are just to make them look a little bit more different. So let's get started. Oh, and don't forget, wear gloves. Wear your worst jeans, wear some shoes that you're not worried about, because the sprayer will get it all over the place. There will be overspray. So let's get started. Alright, well, those 6 little colorants that I purchased on Amazon did not quite get the color into the stone that I want. It still looks a little bit concrete. So I'm going to try something I'm not familiar with. It's a pre-mixed acid stain in amber. Found this on Amazon as well. And I'm going to apply it using my pump sprayer, just enough. Well, it's got the math on there too, 144 square feet. So I shouldn't use the whole thing. Do the math on your patio, follow the instructions just as you should have with the other stain. And let's go ahead and apply this. Part of doing a DIY video is not just so much in being able to show people how to do a unique project, but also in what not to do. Now, the staining that I did, the primary color of the stone, I used too much of it. It looks more like a terracotta. The amber, I went ahead and used the whole thing. It didn't look like it was sinking into the concrete, but it was. And you can see it's too much. The instructions said it could do 200 square feet. This deck, this patio, is about 125 square feet. Regardless, I ignored the math and I used all of it. And so what I've gotten is basically a golden, almost terracotta looking color. Well, so I've put on the accent colors, which you can see here. I put on the smoky, the light gray, the darker. I've done the colors, and then I went ahead and put on the overall amber. And oops. So I'm going to put in this little tidbit, and I would do this if I did this again, being as how I'm working with different types of concrete stain than most people would. Pour a separate patio piece, just a 12 by 24 inch piece that you can use and break it up later. Use it as a color test. That would be my one lesson in this. The methodology is sound. Use the multicolor, the 8 colors that I've shown you. Use, you know, the $50 bottle of basic primer color. So what am I going to do now that I've basically gone overboard with amber? Well, I'm going to use, oh, where did I put it? It's inside. I'm going to use basically stone fleck. I found a very nice quality light stone fleck online, Amazon, and let me go get that. So this is what I found, and I'm going to give this a try. At this point, I'm experimenting. I'm going to have to bring out the artist in me and go around this thing very carefully with just a little bit. Now this is going to have a black speckle quality. I'd actually thought about doing this from the get-go, but I wanted to see really what the stain coloring would do first. So, but I'm worried, again, you got to be an artist. If you're trying to get that real look that you want, that looks like stone, you might have to be an artist. And this is going to be part of that. What I worry is that the stone shimmer that I've put in here, all the mica that I've put in, you can see the sun is glimmering off of little specks of the paint, and I'm going to put this on thin, might cover that. So in the areas where there's glimmer that I want to really shine through, the mica that I want to shine through, I'm going to cover them up with little bits of tape. I'm going to take this tape and just, I don't want to cover all of this shine that you see here. So at this point, I'm winging it. I've gone by what I knew I could do. It's gone beyond it. I've gotten a very golden amber, which I don't want. So now I'm winging it. Well, the good news is this fixes it. I am back to really the color that I want. It's closer. This gray spray, which used up both cans, unfortunately, has fixed this half of the patio. Now this half over here is still, you can still see it's got more of that amber, but the worst part of it is fixed. So when I put the clear coat, when I put the sealant onto this, it's going to be more of the color that I want. I'm sure you can see the difference. So you can adjust this as you do this. You can adjust as you go. Yes, I recommend using a sacrificial bit of concrete on the side to test your colors and get a feel for the stain that you're using. But you can go back by using stone fleck. Okay, albeit it's, I think it's like, God, I think it was 16 bucks a can. And I'm gonna have to buy a third and most likely a fourth can. But you can stain and stone fleck and get artistic and then use the clear coat to seal it all. And what's more, I think I'm gonna take some more of this stone I'm gonna crush up some more of this and put it into my clear sealer so that these individual colors, because they're all a little bit different at this point, they're also going to have some additional shine, additional mica in the clear coat. So I'm feeling much better about what went wrong before. This has definitely made a difference. I'm excited. Once everything's dry, I'll just power spray these little tapes, the blue tape, the painter's tape, right out. But yes, you can go too far with a stain and then you can come back. So we will continue. To stain, touch up, and seal your megalithic patio, any concrete patio really, start with this coloring system, which is found on Amazon.com. It's from concreteresurrection.com. Again, that's concreteresurrection.com. Comes with 8 colors. I only used 6. You have to buy a couple cans of acetone. 2 cans of acetone is enough to mix with the 6 colors that you need here. Again, this is found on Amazon. The second is I went with this amber acid stain. This is from concretecoatingsinc.com. That's concretecoatingsinc.com. And be careful with this stuff. It does not look like it's going to look when it's done. I overdid it, and then I had to pay the price. Both of these can be applied. You can use the hand setup for this, but I recommend, because it's so messy, just using your Wagner power sprayer, the delicate bucket, or using your handheld sprayer. And if any touch-up is needed, well, you can always use Stonefleck. And this is not Stonefleck brand, but another brand that I found again on Amazon. And then lastly, Clear Seal, which you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. This is the last and easy step. I applied that also with the hand pump, nice and easy. And that's how simple it is. If you can do your concrete forming, which is also simple, follow the method that's in the video. This is what you need for parts. This is about, well, with acetone, about 50 bucks. These sell for $45 a piece. Touch Up Stonefleck is about $14 to $16 a can, and this was another $40 a can. If you'd like to have some help with your project, you're serious about doing a megalithic polygonal patio, contact me. Let's talk size, design, location, all that. I would love to get into another project like this. As hard as it is to work with concrete, dust, cement mixers, sun, rain, all that stuff, it is a real passion. It is a lot of fun to see something like that design that we put together come to life. So give me a call. Let me know. Alright, well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope you take on the task and that you can create for yourself a megalithic patio. If there's any questions or any comments, feel free to just bleep bloop along the bottoms of the comments, and I'll respond to you as quickly as I can. And good luck. It's a great project to have. Now I gotta go buy a barbecue and some patio furniture. So, what a project. Thanks for watching, and don't hesitate to check out my other videos about Peru, Egypt, and the megalithic stoneworks of the world. Thank you. On the south side of the water. And these notes were talking points. Every time